Welcome to the Muxall Open IoT channel. I am your host, Michael Crane. Well, today we are going to CNC our faceplates, or actually we're going to engrave our faceplates is a better term for it. And we're going to do this purple faceplate right here. Okay, so once you have your files, your NC files loaded into Carbide Motion, then it's just a matter of we're going to mount the faceplate to the waste board using some screws. And before we do that, we're going to put one screw in and then we're going to square it to the router. Okay? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and square this up to the machine. And to do this, I've already done it. I've done several of these faceplates, but I'm just going to show you. So I'm just going to, but what you do is just put one screw in and don't tighten it down. Just kind of get it so you can adjust it. Okay, then you just jog your router over. And like I said, I've already have it set up, so I'm just going to set it to the current. Well, anyway, I'll just show you from scratch. Okay, so I'm just going to jog it to the center. And I already have installed a drag bit. Now what's installed is a 60-degree diamond tip drag bit. As you can see, this is not a 60-degree. What's installed is, but you can see it's spring loaded. It's just installed in the router. If you don't know how to do that, then you're not going to know how to do any of the rest of the steps. So anyway, so what we want to do is we want to square it to the machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring the router tip bit over. Okay. And bring it down. Okay, so our goal is we want it square to the machine. Now see this slop, we can't have that and get it square. So I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. See, we have no movement, no horizontal or lateral movement, right? Okay, so what's the goal here? Our goal is we want to make sure the center of this is lined up with the center of this. So we know, and this will be on the y-axis. So you come over here and very carefully, I'm going to turn this increment down to 1 millimeter. We're just going to bump it over a little bit. Okay, down, 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 down. And I think I'm actually going to decrease it a little bit more. Oh, that's pretty small. Okay, down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to reduce the increment. I'm going to bring it up just a tad. I think I got a little bit low. And we are just inching along. And the goal is to get right in the middle of that screw. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, that looks pretty good, and you can drop it down in there if you want. I'm not going to do that because you get the idea. We just want the middle. So now that that's in the middle, we're going to just bring our router bit up. We're going to go to this side. Okay. And now I'm going to reduce the increment. We're going to start bringing this guy down. And we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to bring this guy down. As you can see, we want it right smack dab in the middle. Now, look in the middle. Okay. And I'm just going to keep bringing it down until it touches the board. As you can see, it's compressing that bit a little bit. Okay, so that's going to mark where our second screw needs to be. So I'm just going to bring this guy up. Okay. And as you can see, we already have a hole, and to verify that is in this right hole, well, it's close enough for government work. But anyway, so yeah, so this is pretty good. It looks like we're probably about a half a millimeter off there. But that's okay. I mean, this is, we might not have got it straight on here at this hole, but if you do it, if you know the measurements of these two holes, it's real easy. You don't even need the faceplate. Just drill a hole or mark a hole and put another hole, and you're done. All right. So anyway, enough about squaring the plate. We've done that. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, in case you didn't know or figure out, we need a tapered screw. Or at least in my case, we need a tapered screw because the taper's got to line the center of the hole, because the hole's bigger than the screw, right? The taper needs to align it evenly so we're straight. So it'd be kind of, and you guys probably figure this out. I'm probably just wasting my breath here. But yeah, so the taper will make it even on both sides here, and that's the goal. Or actually, not both sides, but all the way around. And that's what we're looking for. That's why you need to use a tapered screw. Don't use a flathead screw if your screw is smaller than the hole. Okay, so, now we've got our plate on. It's squared up. The next thing you're going to want to do, you want to set your job coordinates 0, 0 position. That depends on how you did it in Fusion 360, but for me, it was the very tip of this corner right here. So I'm going into rapid position here. Okay. And mine has already been set, but I'm just going to drop it down and show you. Okay, so rapid position, you can get it to the current XY position and the Z-axis +6. Which is kind of nice when you're setting up different jobs. When you're setting your job coordinates, your XY point, you need to bring the tip down all the way, well, maybe that's too slow. All the way down, and I almost touch it. And you kind of have to look from both angles to see, but your goal is you want it right on the very edge. And I'm going to do a Fusion 360, and you'll see it will look like this, and this right here, Z, Y, X coordinate system. And so this is your X. Oops. This is X. And let me get this guy out of the way. This is Y, and of course Z is coming straight up like this, okay? And so that's our 0 position. So once you get that set, you go into set 0, and you can just 0 the X and the Y. Don't do the Z yet. So we're going to 0 the Z right now. And to do that, I usually use the middle of the job. Now I have resurfaced this waste board, and so it's fairly level. But if you think your waste board's not real level, you might check the 0 on different points around here, but we're just going to do one today. And like I said, I'm going to do the middle, or approximately the middle of the job. Okay. And you need your handy dandy piece of paper to do this. Okay, so we're going to come down. Okay, reduce the increment. Wiggle the paper. Wiggle the paper. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it just barely caught the paper. And we're going to go ahead and set the 0 for the Z-axis. And if you see right now, mine's already at 0.4, which is perfect, but I'll show you. So I'm going to 0 that. But you remember this bit right here is spring loaded. So what I'm going to do is I want a little bit of pressure on that 60-degree diamond tip. So what I'm going to do now that I've zeroed the Z, oops, I'm going to come in here, and with my increment set to 0.1, I'm going to drop the Z down to negative 0.4, come back to the set 0. I'm going to set the 0 again so that our new 0 position is now negative 0.4 down. Okay? Hope everyone's following that. And that's going to add a little pressure to our drag bit. Okay? So we're done with all the setting the job coordinates. Done. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy up. All right. And here's my notes. You always want to have notes, and you always want to have coffee. Okay? So, with this drag bit, you're not actually supposed to turn on the router. But I have found with this hard anodizing on the aluminum that not turning the router on at the lowest RPM, in our case here, is the carbide, I forget what they call this router. It's their own little router. But setting 1 is 5,000 RPMs. We're going to go ahead and turn it on. I will here in a second. We'll just follow this. So now we're going to load up a file. And I've got several of them here. So the first thing we're going to do is the Pro Barbecue lettering. Okay. Go ahead and load this guy up. And I'm going to click on Start Job. All right. Now it's going to prompt me to turn on the router. So that's why I decided to wait. Plus it's going to be noisy. You're not going to really be able to hear me too well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. It's at 5,000 RPMs. Click Continue. And away she goes. And if you're wondering what it's doing, it's going to be doing this part right here, the Pro Barbecue. Okay, now we're going to have to, this job is set up to run this twice. Because, as you can see, one time isn't enough. Sometimes 2 times isn't enough. It depends on how hard the anodizing is. But I set all my jobs up to run, except for the logo. Everything's run twice. And if I need to rerun it, I just rerun the job twice again. And you'll see what I'm talking about in the Fusion 360. But we'll go ahead and watch this. You'll get an idea. Okay, so it's told me to turn the spindle off. I have done that. Our job is ended, and we can take a look at it. It looks okay. There's it could probably use one more pass. So, like I said, all my jobs are set up to do it twice. So, in our case, I'm probably going to do it one more. Then I'm going to pause the job and stop it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And what's nice about this is once it's set up, you don't have to touch anything. You can just load the files and keep going. In our case, I'm just going to hit Start Job. And it's going to tell me to turn on the router. Okay, now I'm going to continue. And it's going to go ahead and start our Pro Barbecue engraving a second time. Okay, so at this point I paused the job and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it. That looks pretty good. I don't think we need to let it run that last time. So now that I've paused it, I'm going to click on stop. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just leave that thing running. As soon as it stopped, this is kind of annoying about this machine. It's nice that it sets it back to the machine coordinates 0, 0, its default position, but it would be nice if it just moved it out of the way. So because you can't load another job until that thing is finished setting itself back into its little home spot. Okay, so I'm just going to click on load file. And the next thing we're going to do is the on off. And the 1, 2, 3. We're going to be doing this part right here. And on second thought, instead of doing this, just for the sake of time, I think we'll just do this one. This one's kind of nice. You can see it actually leaves a little bit of the anodizing in the middle to give it a 3D looking effect. And then we'll look at the logo, and that'll be it. This right here is exactly the same as this right here, and you just run it twice and maybe a third or fourth time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load up the Muxall name. Okay, you can see right here it's loaded up. We're going to click Start Job. Our router is already running. Yeah, I found with this anodizing, it depends on how hard or what type of aluminum it is. And some, I guess the color of the anodizing makes a difference. I have found the red anodizing to be softer than the black anodizing. The purple seems to be similar to the red anodizing. Now, one thing to remember when you're doing multiple passes like this, especially with a 60-degree drag bit, is every time so here's your bit, it's at 60-degree angle. Every time you make a pass at it, so maybe the first time it use that much of your tip, the second pass is going to go even deeper, and the third pass is going to go even deeper. So if we ran this 4 full times, it's gonna eventually carve out all these pieces in the middle right here, and it'll make your engravings deeper. Now, if you want deep engravings, that's great. But if you're trying to save the fine details, you can see even in this first pass, this is so soft that it's taken out a lot of the other little details. But I'm going to go ahead and run it one more time just to add a little bit more depth to it. So I'll go ahead and continue. Start job. Okay, so for this last job, we're going to go ahead and carve out this logo right here. And that's actually a pocket cut. Okay, so I've loaded it up. It just says M, because that's what that is, supposed to be an M. And I've loaded it up. I'm going to click Start Job. It's going to ask me to turn on the router. Okay, and we'll get started. And a little bit of, it kind of burrs the edges a little bit, but it can be cleaned up with gently wiping it. You can see this one probably needs a little cleanup too. Okay. All right, and there you go. As you can see, it carved everything out. I didn't show this. It was not very interesting. I do need to take a cloth and clean up these kind of rough edges on here. You can see there are a little bit of rough edges, but everything else looks really nice, huh? So what's nice about this, as long as you leave everything turned on, now it's just you have your holes set. You just screw down another faceplate, load your jobs up, and you don't have to do any more zeroing. You can just start cranking these things out. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, you can support the Muxall Open IoT channel by donation using a credit card and PayPal, or by purchasing products at the Muxall store. Details and links are in the description under this video. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, that helps, and hit the subscribe button, that really helps. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments under this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.